Small town, big life.
Hey, Raiden on the beat.
Million and one different stories, yeah.
OB, you made it hit, nigga.
Small town, big life. Long day, long night. A million and one different stories, yeah. Small town, big life. Long day, long night. A million and one different stories, yeah.
Made my home in the city, but I came from a small town. I grew up with the street niggas. I avoided that lifestyle, but I'm still on that gangster shit. Wore the suit for the pro.
Live and never used to be great today, Lamar King Sr. Thank you for tapping in with me. Shout out to my guy, Niggas Phoenix. Go tap in with him on YouTube, Reverb, Facebook. He heard what Niggas Phoenix is. That was his song you were listening to. It's a hot song. I love it. I love it. I love it. But let's jump right in. Tonight we're talking about the top regrets of the dying and what we need to learn from them. I love surfing the internet and just finding different things to read and think about. And the number one regret people voice on their way out, according to Where, is a big one. It is that they did not live a life true to themselves, but did what others expected of them. How many of you find yourself basing decisions that you make throughout the day on what other people may think? And we can act like we're perfect. We can act like we don't have these thoughts, and we can act like we don't care what nobody thinks. But contrary to popular belief, most people do. Most people, they value others' opinion. And that's not a knock on the person. That just says you're human. But the number one regret is that they have not lived their lives true to themselves. They have lived a life based on society standards. They have lived their life based on someone else's opinion. And it's a common flaw. It's a common kink in most people's armor that they value or they care about or they let those thoughts run through their head about what other people think or their expectations on their life. We're all human. We all go through it. We all deal with it. But let's think about this. The number one rule on the list. This is the number one reason for regret. Living up to someone else's expectation. Not living life true to themselves. That's a big one. Just like the title said, that's a big one to think about, that you're living your life and the people who have died. The stats show that the number one reason for people, or the number one regret, is living life not true to themselves. But did what others expected out of them. So they base their lives on others' expectations. And basically this list is telling you what you should not do. This list is telling you that you disregard what other people think. And I know it is a hard thing to do. We're bred and we're peer pressure is a motherfucker. Everything we've been molded to be in so many, ways in life. The ideologies and the habits, the thought process that we have adopted, they're hard to let go. But I'm here to tell you, you have to let that go. And I'm not saying constantly reminding yourself to let it go. Just let it go and forget about it. And it takes practice. It's not something that you can just get done in one setting. You gotta take your time and constantly just say, hey, I'm gonna do me. Even doing this podcast sometimes can be challenging for myself. Because a lot of people, all you want to do is talk. All you want to, but people are talking on the internet and they, with no structure, no focus, no purpose. With On Air with Mr. B Great today, Lamar King Sr., we're here to change mindset. We're here to get you to thinking outside the box. We're here to talk about the things that people don't want to talk about. You know, but people, and I ain't gonna say people, I sometimes question myself, should I be doing the podcast? Should I find something more valuable with my time to do? Nope, this is what I'm gonna do and this is what you're gonna get. Here's a clip from my boy Draymond, just in case you forgot. Check it out.
Doing the podcast, it ain't stopping. Y'all gonna get this podcast.
There you have it, my friend. You're gonna get this podcast. You're gonna get it. And like, that's what you have to feel about yourself when you're out here in this world. They're gonna get what they get from you. That they're getting what you're giving. That's what you have to tell the world. You have to tell the world, you're gonna get me, 120% of me. And if you don't like it, cry me a river. I could care less. And you have to have a shrewd attitude about it, because if you don't, you'll find yourself having those inner conversations. You'll find yourself doubting yourself. You're finding yourself constantly checking your pictures before you post it. You'll find yourself, oh, let me look at it. Like, because you're worried about what other people may think. We're human people. You're not a robot. Every shot is not going to be glamorous. It's not going to be a glamour shot. Everybody wants these glamour shots. They want filters. They want this. They want that. They want everything perfect. But that is not how life works. And if you're honest with yourself, you won't die like most people do, with the regret of not living their life true to themselves. But they did what other people expected of them. That's number one. Number two, the second regret people voice while dying, working too hard. Ooh, working too hard. You know, the old saying goes, hard work pays off. You know, it does. You have to work hard, but hard work. Working so hard, working your fingers to the bone. You're working around the clock. You're working 78 hours a week. You just work. You're missing recitals. You're missing school functions. You're missing birthday parties. You're missing everything. You're missing family functions. You can't. Well, he at work. Or she at work. Or he at work. Everybody working. The second regret, after the opinions of others, and if you want to break it down to real science, people are working hard just to impress other people. And y'all, I'm not being facetious. I'm not being rude. I'm not being shrewd. I'm just being real. You're working hard to, prove to other people that you got it. But all the while, you're making someone else's dreams come true. You're making someone else's pockets fat. Well, they give you just enough to keep the lights on and keep some, some food in the fridge and some gas in your car. Just enough so you can, not have to pay too big of a copay and not too big of a deductible on insurance and all that. Just enough. And they calculate. They have people that calculate how much can we give them that they won't quit. We want to give them just enough so they won't quit. Got to find a sweet spot, and they're getting better and better at it. Even looking, at the job market, jobs are starting out $20 an hour now. Pretty much. You can make $15 an hour at McDonald's. Well, guess what they did? They rose the price of living, the cost of living. So now that $20 an hour is still like $7.25. But we're working hard. Work hard, at the expense of your family, at the expense of your kids, at the expense of your husband or wife, at the expense of your mother and father who you have limited time with, at the expense of your cousins who you grew up with like brothers and sisters, but you don't even know their children's name, and your children don't know their children, all because everybody working and going and working on their own dream. That's the number 2 regret, working too hard. You gotta work smart. I was listening to a podcast today, and there was, a lady was talking about, shout out to Shay Johnson, Go check her out. She's on Buzzsprout. Y'all check out Shay Josh. She had a good one talking about starting over. And you know, a lot of times people have been a jack of all trades. But what people don't understand is the whole quote is the jack of all trades and a master of none is better than a master of one. People cut that last part off. People want to say, well, you just a jack of all trades and a master of none. Yeah, but it's better than a master of one. And a lot of times, a job is have you a master of that one job. You do it all your life. Your passion, your, whatever. And I'm not knocking on what people do for a living, but don't work so hard to where you laying on your deathbed and like, oh, I worked too hard. Even today, me and my buddy was talking, man, he was talking about him and his wife having a conversation. And, he's doing his business thing. He's building up his business line of credit. And he got a credit card for, I think, like 10, 20 grand, And his wife, of course, was like, well, you don't need to spend all that, you're going to mess your credit up or you're going to mess this, that, because, of course, in the black community, a lot of times, credit cards have been looked at in a negative light. And if you use them wrong, they should be. But if you use them right, if you're buying inventory to make more money, you're going to be doing good. But my buddy said something interesting. He told his wife, he said, what do you want to do? You want to die with good credit? It ain't no good if you ain't using it. And I think oftentimes people want to just work hard and keep their credit when you should be using that credit and working less hard, working smart, using that credit, leveraging. We can. That's a whole nother show. But the second reason why the biggest regret people have is they work too hard. Spend some time with your family. Tell them people you ain't gonna be able to make it. Tell them I can't do it. I can't work no extra days. I can't, because I promise you, the more you make, the more they take. We all know you work them 20, 30 hours of overtime. You already know they taxing you more unless you went up there and changed your dependence to 99 or 9 or whatever you want to do, or 0, however y'all want to do it. Well, not 0, because they're gonna kill you. But you go in there and change the dependence to 99, you still is a wash then, because then they're gonna come back and get you at the beginning of the year. So just understand, don't work so hard. Work enough to make sure you got a living, make sure you got a roof over your head, the lights on, food in the refrigerator, but go spend time with your family. Go spend time with yourself. Go spend time with your kids and your wife and your husband. Number 3, the third most cited regret offers that people look back and wish they had the courage to express their feelings. It's a lot of people walk around on eggshells, scared to voice what they gonna say, because again, it goes back to number 1, they're worried about what people are gonna say. People walk around with their feelings bottled up, and they do crazy stuff that, may jeopardize their freedom of their life because they're afraid to express their feelings. My grandmother, wonderful lady, rest her soul, Miss Bertha Grace, she was the type, she spoke her mind. I'll never forget, my sister and her boyfriend at the time came over and she's like, both of y'all just as fat. She really, now they'll say you body shaming if you speak in your mind. Everybody want to cut the tongue out and don't want anybody to speak with it. Hey, we call a spade where I'm from. If your breast stink, your breast stink. It needs to be known. It needs to be put out there. You know what I mean? And I think people hold their feelings back because they're afraid of what people may perceive them as. People may, be afraid to perceive them as rude. But if you feel a certain way and you holding it in, the stress is on you. And not everything doesn't need to be spoken in the same sentence, though. But so a lot of times people don't want to speak their mind because they're afraid of what people may think. There's so many people on the job, and it may be some racial disparities going on in the country, and they can't post it on their social media because their coworkers are going to look at them a certain way. And that goes on both sides. And like you can put it in any form of fashion. Like people are afraid to speak their mind because they're focused on what people may call them. They focus on what people may think about them. They're scared to get it off their chest because they don't want an argument. But hey, I tell you, it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. You still can get it off your mind in some form or fashion. Stop holding it in. Stop being so afraid of what, the outside perception, because that's the only reason I can think a person won't say something. You know what I mean? I can understand that people may, have a hot head or don't want to go off the edge or don't want to cause themselves any type of harm, hurt or danger. But still, you got to be able to express yourself in a way, be able to communicate without feeling like you got to hurt somebody's feelings or be disrespectful. But more people, number 3 on the list, people they wish they had the courage. They wish they had the courage to express their feelings, even in a lot of relationships. And I can only speak from a male perspective. A lot of times men won't speak their mind and how they feel and what they're going through because they're afraid sometimes it may be an argument. They're afraid it may be some type of judgment. They're afraid their words may be used against them. So a lot of times, guess what they do? And I can only speak from my perspective. They shut up and they don't say anything. They carry that weight around. They carry that burden around. Until then, one day it all blows up. And women do it too. Women don't say nothing because sometimes their man might be a little high-headed. He might be a little insecure, as men do sometimes. They can't take corrective criticism. And women also can't take, if you can't take corrective criticism, you can't grow. You can't prune. The tree has to be pruned. Pruning is corrective criticism. You gotta prune it. Like the trees are growing too close together. We gotta cut them back in order to grow more. And I think corrective criticism sometimes is looked at as such a bad light that people think is argumentative. But it's just people speaking their feelings or telling you how they feel about a situation. And if you take it as a beef, you miss the whole point. And that's why a lot of people don't voice their feelings, because it's always taken out of context sometimes. But again, it's all about delivery, how you say it. You can express your feelings in a way without ruffling people's feathers. But it's up to you to understand and learn those different techniques. Right? So, and again, these are the 5 most, the ways that people regret when they're on their deathbed. And expressing their feelings is number 3. And we're gonna jump straight to number 4. Number 4 includes a desire to have stayed in touch with old friends. Ooh, I cut you off. Now we're in the day of cut off. We're in the day of cut off. And then you have to go to that friend's funeral and y'all ain't talked in 10, 20 years. And now you wish you had picked up the phone. Now you wish you had expressed how you really feel on why y'all fell out. Ooh, that got to hurt. That got to hurt. And people, and again, that's on the list where people mostly regret when they're dying. The fact that they couldn't talk to that mother or father that they fell out with and left home and never came back. Talk to that brother or sister. Because friends, family are friends as well. They're some of your first friends. See, people cut family off, cut friends off, cut, people who have been in their corner and just had to stop talking to them. And all because both sides are stubborn. All because both sides are stubborn on the fact that they, I'm right and they wrong. They did me wrong and I don't want to say nothing else to them. I hate them and love them for years. And guess what? Then that shit got to hurt. That shit gonna hurt. So mend them bridges. I ain't said you gotta go drink a beer with them and hang out with them and have dinner with them and have lunch, but you probably should if they're a real friend, they real family. But guess what? Too bullheaded, too much pride, too much ego. Oh, they did me wrong. Hey. Like my grandma used to say, you don't get it in the wash, you'll get it in the rinse. Treat people how you want to be treated, not how they treat you. And that's a hard one to do. That's a hard one to do, to treat people how you want to be treated, regardless of how they treat you. Because everybody want to be so caught up in revenge and who's right and who's wrong and telling their side of the story. Mend them fences. Mend them bridges. I burn bridges. Burnt bridges can be built again. And I'm not saying just go out here and reach out to all the people you done fell out with in your lifetime and whatever the extreme circumstances, but it's some situations that probably, it's just some miscommunication going on. Somebody done said someone took it the wrong way or whatever. And then you go to your grave or you got to go to their funeral or they come to your funeral and they can't, or you just hear about you dying. And won't even go to the funeral because they want to stand on what they said and hurt like on nowhere. It happens. Don't act like it don't, because it does. The 5th and final item is people regret not having let themselves be happier. People sometimes let this world turn them into a hardcore person. They let their experiences They let their situations throughout life change them. I heard Mike Tyson say, he was having an interview with this guy, and this guy said, well, somebody did me wrong, did me like this, and did me like this. I supposed to, I'm through it, I'm cutting them off. And Mike said, the devil has won. Because you let that person's actions change you. You wasn't like that before you got did like that. Like, you gotta understand that if the tree is not chopped down, it still has time to grow and heal and move forward. You think because if somebody starts chopping down a tree and if they don't finish, or they start chipping away at the character of the tree and they don't finish, that the tree won't, continue to grow? You think the tree said, well, I don't want to be no tree no more. I'm done. I'm done. I want to be weeds in the grass now because I'm through with it. They hit me with the axe. I'm done with it. I can't come back from this. And we allow situations to make us unhappy because being happy is a choice. Getting upset is a choice. Getting mad, getting angry, that's a choice, ladies and gentlemen. That's a choice. And I choose not. I can't allow anything or anyone or any situation to disturb my peace. The best phrase that has came out, the best cliche that has came out in the last common era is it is what it is. What can I do about it? If I can change it, let's change it. Let's do something about it. But if I can't change it, what am I gonna? If what someone said or what someone did, can I change it? My father wanted my life. Okay, can you change that? Can you go back in time and be a kid again? My mother was mean to me. Okay, can you go back to that and change? I understand we have traumas in our life. Therapy is great. Something talking about it is great. But living in it and waddling in it and dwelling on it, that ain't gonna change nothing. Fix that relationship and initiate it. Me and my father did not have, if you go back and look at my last podcast, father-son relationship, it's great for me and him to be able to sit down and have those conversations. I hated my dad as a teenager. My dad was nowhere around, at least in my eyes. But I said, you know what, I can't change that. How can we fix this today? And that's what you have to do. If you decide to be miserable about a situation because something happened in your past, is only by choice. Fix it. Is it gonna kill you? If it's gonna kill you, if it's life threatening, if you're in harm's way, then by all means leave it alone. But if you can have a conversation, if you can mend that bridge, if you can make things better by a simple "I'm sorry," make it right. And even if they don't receive it, get it off your chest. Because you know what you sleep with at night. People say, I sleep good. Yeah, if you lay there long enough, you go to sleep. But what you think about before you go to sleep? What's rattling that brain that you ain't went to sleep instantly? You've been working all day. Why you ain't going to bed this dog tape? If you give it 120%, no, because your mind is still going on things that's bothering you. Because you're not making yourself happy. You by choice, you are choosing to be unhappy. And just to recap and let y'all know, that these are the 5 most things that people regret before dying. Number 1, the big one, is that they have not lived life true to themselves, but did what others expected of them. That's the number 1 reason, the number 1 regret. 2, working too hard. Giving that job more time than you do your family, kids, wife, and husband. Stop it. Don't go to your deathbed with these regrets. 3, people look back and wish they had the courage to express their feelings. Speak your mind. But it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. You can speak your mind and not be disrespectful. Find creative ways to where you can say, find effective ways to communicate. 4, they wish they had desired to stay in touch with old friends and family. Don't stop falling out with people when you can fix it with a phone call. You can fix it with a conversation. Yeah, put a letter in the mail. Jump in their DM. Do something. Stop riding that pride and that ego so much. Life is too short. Don't go to your deathbed. Don't go to your best friend's funeral and you ain't had a conversation with him in the last 5, 10 years. Right? And the last one is they regret not having let themselves be happier. Let themselves be happier. Because to be happy is a choice. To be upset is a choice. Choose the latter. Choose to be grateful. Choose to be forgiveful. Forgiveness is a great emotion. Let it go. And a lot of times people won't let it go back to the first reason and the first biggest regret. They don't want to say I'm sorry because they feel like somebody might look at them as soft. They don't want to say it was my bad because they want to feel like, because they probably said something about that person in so many ways to so many people. But because they would look like a fraud. But guess what? It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to have a forgiving heart. Say, you know what? I felt like this at one time, but now I don't feel like this no more. I'm willing to forgive you. I'm willing to let it go. And guess what? You'll be surprised in how much stress you have just left off your life because it's no longer on you. And if it's genuine and it's wholeheartedly, you have nothing to worry about. You clean your plate. You made amends with yourself. And you made amends. You put forth the effort. Some people don't want to hear it. Look, I said what I had to say, and that's fine. And if it comes to that, then you won't. But you tried. I hope this helps someone. I hope it gave someone some reason to live a better life and stop, carrying things around. Stop worrying about what people think. Learn how to effectively communicate how they feel about certain situations without being disrespectful. And just be happier about choice. Don't let a situation scroll past that post that you ain't really got no business indulging in. Scroll on past it. Call that friend. Call that family member. I love you all. Thank y'all for tapping in on the midweek chop up. Y'all know what to do. Be great today. Peace.